All right, everyone. So I'm back now, and I want to embellish my bracelet. And we're going to work our way from the jump ring end here that we were at. We're going to do our embellishments all the way down across our crystals. And when we get down to this, then we're going to reinforce our lobster claw end of our clasp one more time. All right, so we should be coming out here of the twin hole bead on the hole that's closest to your crystal on your blossom. Excuse me. So now what I want to do is I want to work on embellishing the top of this bracelet a little bit. And we're going to cover up this a little bit of thread that shows here where we added our crystals. So what I want you to do is first I want you to dive right through that crystal, just like we did previously. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to pick up one of your 8/0 seed beads and come right back through that crystal, going back through the opposite direction. Excuse me, guys. Allergies are really bothering me. And so I've situated that 8/0 here on the outside of that crystal. I'm really sorry. Now we're going to pick up one more 8/0 seed bead, and we're going to come back through the crystal one more time. Just come through your crystal, not the 8/0, like that, and pull this in. And now we have these two little 8/0 seed beads on either side of our crystal. So now I want you to, whatever side your needle happens to be oriented on, your working thread, I mean, come through the crystal, or the 8/0 seed bead, from that side to the other side. And now my thread is coming out here to the right-hand side of this 8/0. So now I'm going to pick up a series of 11/0s, but I'm going to have to measure, because not all beads are always the same. I'm going to start with 5 and let those drop down to my end of my thread here. Lay them right up against the beadwork, like that. I'm going to come around the top this bead. Let me zoom in just a little. All right. So what I want to do is I want to put enough seed beads between that 8/0 and this 8/0 to where I don't have any gaps of thread showing. So I need to keep adding. I'm going to try 3 more. So that's 8 right there that I have on my thread at this moment. And I'm going to bring it in and try it one more time. Now, I'm going to go through this 8/0 seed bead. I've got the 8 beads here, and it looks like that's going to be enough. So I'm going to come on through this 8/0 seed bead on the other side of my crystal, and I'm going to come through it from right to left. And when I pull, I want to make sure that I have enough of my seed beads here to where I don't have any exposed thread showing when I pull it snug like that. So 8 looks like a really good number. So now I've got the 8 on this side. I need to pick up 8 more. And there's 8. And now I'm going to come back through the 8/0 seed bead that I started from. And I'm going to pull those beads along the other side of my crystal. And here's what I have so far. But as you can see, these will flip around, and I don't like that. That's not my cup of tea. So in order to fasten these beads to the beadwork, what we need to do is come up through the first four of the seed beads that we added on the first side. I'm going to come through 4. I'm going to put one more seed bead right here smack in the middle of that. So I'm picking up 1, and I'm going to go through the next 4 and the 8/0 on the other side. I'm going to come through 4 beads on this side, 4 of my 11/0 accent beads here. So I'm coming through 4. And now I'm going to pick up 1 and go through the next 4, just like I did on the opposite side. So I picked up an 11/0, and here I am going through the next 4 beads and also the 8/0 at the same time. Now I have a bead that I can work with. So now I want to come through my 11/0s one more time, and this time I want to come through 5 beads. There's one to be coming out the bead that I just added right in the middle. Let me zoom out just a little. I'm getting out of frame. All right, so here we go. Now I'm coming through 5 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the bead I added. Now, I'm going to move my work around so I'm comfortable working. So as you can see here, my thread is coming out to the left-hand side of that bead. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go through my spike bead. And I'm going to go from left to right, but I'm only going to go through the spike, none of the seed beads. I'm going to pull that all through. Now here I am coming out of that spike. I want to go back through that 5th seed bead from the opposite side. So count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is this bead right here that I want. Let me twist my work just a little so I make sure I get the right bead. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to come back through that 5th seed bead from the opposite side. As you can see, when I lift it up, you can see the thread on the other side of that bead, so I know I'm in the right one. Now when I pull it all through, I have attached this row of accent beads to the lower part of my my beadwork. So now that's all attached. So now I've got to come through the next 4 seed beads in the 8-0. We're going to move around to the other side. We'll do the same thing on the opposite side of our blossom. So there I am. I went through those 4 in my 8-0. So now I've got to go through 5 beads again. If you don't get them all in one pass, that's perfectly fine. Just make sure that you're coming out of that 5th bead. And I'll flip my work around again. Now my thread's on the left, so that lets me know I need to go through the spike bead left to right. And then I need to come back through my 5th bead right to left. This time I'll go ahead and push through the other 4 seed beads, or however many I can get through, because I know I'm be moving in that direction anyway. Make sure your thread doesn't get hung up on your spike, and pull it nice and snug. Then come on through the 8-0 bead. And there's what the embellishment looks like. And it's secured down here on the two ends with the 8-0 beads. And it's also secured here and here through your spike beads. And it's really pretty. You can still see all of the beautiful colors of all of my beads. And I really like the way that it looks. So now I need to move down because I need to get into my next crystal. And if you'll notice, by attaching this layer of accent beads to your spike beads, it puts a little bit more substantial firmness to the spike beads, so that when your bracelet is on, they're not flopping around all over the place. It firms them up just a little. So we're coming out of our 8-0. And all I'm going to do here is I am going to go from this 8-0 right into my 2-hole bead on the same side that my working thread is. So my thread's on the left. I'm going to go left to right through my 2-hole bead. And I'm going to pull it. And you're going to see that it doesn't create much of an area where you can see the thread. You'll see it if you're really looking for it, but when your bracelet is on, you're not going to see it. Alright, so now we need to get down the side of our 2-hole bead. But remember, we added that little bead in the middle, so we have to come through that bead. Come through that little bead, you add it on to the side of your 2-hole. Watch your thread, don't get hooked up on any of your other beads. Now you can come through your 2-hole bead and work your way around one side of your connection beads. So here we'll go through the seed bead 11, 8, 11. And this is why I told you guys to use a relatively small size beading needle, because you'll want to be able to get through these tight corners. So I'm coming through the 11, 8, 11. I made it through my O bead and one more 11. So we're just positioning. Come through the next 8 and 11, or whatever beads you need to move around your connection to the next twin hole bead, and there I am. So now I want to come through my twin, and just my twin. So once again, I got to come through the connection bead, or the little accent bead on the side of my 2-hole. Working down towards this crystal that we have to work with next. Now I can come right back through the other hole of that bead next to my crystal. And I'm ready to do my next round of embellishment. Then I will let you go off and finish your embellishments. And get that done. Head all the way down. When you get your last blossom embellished, I'll come back and we will reinforce this end. And I have a little bonus I'm going to show you guys. All right. Welcome back. All right. Now I've worked my way down my bracelet. And I've got my beautiful little accent beads added across all of my crystals. And once I finished my last tie down of my accent beads to the spike, and I pushed back through the other 4 seed beads in the 8-0, and I came down through the first hole of my 2-hole bead there. That's part of my blossom. So once again, I want to go up through the little bead I added on the side. And I'm going to come through the top hole of that twin bead. And now I'm going to reinforce my lobster claw end of my bracelet. So remember that we added some seed beads here on this side as well. Actually, we haven't done the additional bead that we're going to do, but we'll do that afterwards. So well, actually, we'll do it for right now. I changed my mind. Actually, come back out of that 2-hole bead and be exiting this middle bead that we added on the side. So now we're going to fix this up just like we did on the other end. We'll pick up an 11-0. We're going to just go straight up through. So I'm on the left-hand side of my beadwork. I'm going to go up through that seed bead, the 2-hole bead, on the left side of my clasp attachment here. We only have to do this one more time because we've already been through this end twice, but 3 is a good number for this reinforcement of your clasp. So then you'll want to come up through the next 3 seed beads. And then remember to go through your jump ring and come down the right hand side. We'll go through the 3 seed beads, the 2-hole bead, and just the 1 seed bead on the other side. Make sure your thread didn't get hung up on your clasp and pull. Then pick up one more 11-0 and come down through the 11-0 seed bead that you added on the side of your twin hole bead here. So right there. And pull that seed bead into position. So now both ends of our bracelet look exactly the same. Now we just need to end our thread. So we've come down that bead on the side here of the 2-hole bead. So now we'll come through the 2-hole bead. So go ahead and get yourself through that 2-hole bead. And I want to tie some 1/2-inch knots. I'm going to flip my work over and work on the back here for my knots. So I'm coming out of my 2-hole bead. I'm going to pass through my next seed bead that is part of the 3 little beads right here before your spike. So come through that 1 11-0. And now I'm not sure if you know how to do 1/2-inch knots, but that's all I'm going to do to end my thread. So I want to come under the loop of beads. So I'm sticking my needle right through between my seed beads and my crystal. And I'm going to pull really slow. And I want this little loop right here to form. So now I've got that loop. I'm going to stick my needle back through that loop. And when I pull my thread, something I want to make sure is that I'm not getting hung up on my clasp, for one thing. And then I want to make sure that my loop, that knot pulls down in between that 8/0 and that 11/0 where I initially started. And I'm going to snug it in there like that. Now I can move on, because you don't want to cut your thread near a knot. So come on through the 8/0 and the 11/0 and the spike bead. Now we can come through the next 11/0 and 8/0. And now I'm going to put another 1/2 inch knot right here between the 8/0 and 11/0 here. So I'm going once again under the beadwork and sticking my needle between those seed beads there and my crystal and pulling myself a little loop. I'm going to grab my loop with my needle, and when I pull, I'm going to make sure my knot goes in between that 8/0 and that 11/0. Just like that. Those are your basic 1/2 inch knots, and it's a good way to end your jewelry. But never cut your thread near the knot, so move on through a few beads. And what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to weave around this little unit, around this 2-hole bead right here. So I'm going to go down through the little bead on the side. I'm going to come back through the other hole of my 2-hole bead. And when I come up, I'm going to go through that middle bead that we put on the side one more time right here. It's a little bit hard to see with my light, but now I'm going to go right back through that 2-hole bead in the other hole right there. And I'm on the back side of my bracelet, and that's where I want to be. And now I'm just going to end my thread. You can use scissors or a thread burner and just pull and cut your thread. And zoom out. So there's my bracelet. As I made this little charm using a little piece of 26 gauge bare copper wire, a couple of my seed beads from my project, and one of my spike beads. All right, so I cut myself just a couple of 2 or 3, maybe 4 inches of some 26 gauge bare copper wire to match my project. And I'm going to take my wire and I'm going to put it right straight through my spike bead. Then on each end of my wire, I'm going to add one of my 11/0s. And I'm going to bring all that to the center of my wire, just like that. Now I'm going to take my fingers, I'm going to create myself a little bend here, but I want to bend it towards the middle of my work, like that. And get my seed bead back down where it goes. I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm going to take my fingernail and just push the wire towards the center. Oops, guys, dropped one of my seed beads. All right, so now I have my wires bent just like this. Bring it in a little. So my wires bent over these 2 little 11/0 seed beads. So I'm just going to pull them both together, just like that. I'm going to take the 2 ends of my wire. I'm going to pick up my little 8/0 seed bead and I'll slide it down both of these wires. And bring it close to the 2 little seed beads sitting here, like that. I'm going to make sure my spike is in the wire the way that I want it to be. Now I'm going to bend these wires out just a little bit, like that. And then I'm going to twist these 2 just a little to keep everything in position here, like that. Now I'm going to bring my wires back together, like this. Now you're going to need some round nose pliers. So I've got both of these wires coming up like this. I want to determine where I want my length. I'm going to give mine one more twist, like that. I want to make a loop like I did on this end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my wires and move it out of my way. I'm going to grab a hold of my wire with my round nose pliers like this. I want to leave a little bit of a length here because I'm going to wrap. I'm going to wrap my wires and make this cute little wrappy look on my charm. I'm not the greatest at this, but I have a lot of fun with it. So I'm going to take that wire and bring it around, just like that. Then I'm going to roll my pliers just a little and bring it on around. And so what I have is something that looks like that. And you can make it a little smaller. And if it doesn't sit the way you want it to, which that was a little up too high, then I'm just going to undo it and come down a little bit further. Alright, now I want to move this wire so it's poking back straight up like that. I'm going to take the wire that I curved and hold my wires like this with my pliers. Now I'm just going to wrap this piece down towards my charm, just a few little wraps. So there I've already secured my loop a little there. I'm going to take my cutters and I'm going to get the tip of my cutters in the flat side and put it towards the charm area like this. And I'm going to snip that wire off as close as I can get, like that. So now I have my little charm, and I'm going to go ahead and straighten up this loop. I'm just going to put my pliers in and give it a little twist back like that. So now it looks a little bit more professional. You can play with this with your fingers or your pliers or whatever you have to till you get it positioned the way that you want it. Once you have that done, grab a hold of just the loop. And this time you're going to take your second wire and we're going to come and wrap around the shank of this little charm that we're making. We're going to wrap it nice and tight. And I'm going to wrap towards the charm. If you've got a piece that's irritating you, you can always just mash it in with your pliers. I'm going to keep coming around till I'm close to my 8/0 seed bead. Just like that. And then I'm going to take my snippers and I'm going to snip that chunk off. Then I'm just going to take my fingers and straighten it up like that. There's a cute little charm. So now I have two of them. Let me zoom back out and we'll finish this bracelet. Alright, so now I'm here and I wanted to add just a tiny bit more length to my bracelet. In order to do that, I'm going to use this one additional jump ring here. And I'm going to take one side in my flat nose pliers, and one side I'm going to take in my chain nose. And I'm going to have to open it just a little bit more because I want to slide my little charms on that I just made. And then I have to connect it to the farthest jump ring out from the bracelet right there. Put that jump ring on. So I've added two charms and my bracelet jump ring. So now I just need to close it up. Jump rings are not my best friend, but if this one doesn't work, I will get another one out. Sometimes these little pre-made jump rings were not cut correctly with the flush cutters, and they don't want to close up right. So play around with it until you can get your jump ring closed. If it doesn't close correctly, swap it out and get a different one. Which I think I'm going to have trouble with this one because I don't think one end was cut flush. Anyway, I'll fix that off camera. So let's go ahead and take a look at our beautiful bracelet. So there it is. The desert blooms with the nice little bonus of our cute little charms here on the end. So then when I take my lobster claw and close it up, now I have 3 different jump rings that I can use as my closure like that. So it will fit. It's a little slightly adjustable like that. And I love it. Then when I'm wearing it, my cute little charms will dangle off like that. Alright guys, so that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this class, and I hope that you will complete the project and upload some pictures in the project section for me, because I've done several classes so far on Skillshare, and so far nobody has shown me their project. And I try not to get too bummed out about it, but that's okay. Please go over to my website. See, I'm going to have to work on my jump ring. My charm came out. But anyway, go on over to my website and sign up for my newsletter and follow my blog. If you're interested in doing some live tutorials with me on Facebook, on YouTube, I've started a new format there of doing live tutorials and with the chat, and I'll leave the chat open so that I can help answer questions and discuss, you know, different things, techniques, processes, or what have you, as we make, you know, the project jewelry on the tutorial. It's something I'm really just now starting, but in the future, that's the way I'm going to do all of my YouTubes. Anyway, check me out on my social media and follow me online. Hope you guys have a blessed and beautiful week, and I hope you've enjoyed my beautiful desert blooms.